Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Mo. Today we're talking about all things related to the car buying experience. So the last several weeks we've been talking about different things that you can do to prepare yourself for the car buying experience. It's never a good idea to walk into any dealership unprepared, um, because that's when you can potentially be hurt the most, right? So the concept of me sharing this information with you is just so that you feel much more comfortable in the process, and that you give yourself the best chance of not being taken advantage of. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how do you negotiate a fair deal. Now, I am from the dealership side of the equation. Okay, and but I am a consumer also. I buy things, including cars, um, phones, bicycles, you name it. And so, just as I want to be treated fairly when I walk into a place of business, you should expect that too. And that's what I expect from my clients, that I'm going to treat you fairly. Okay. There's been an old thing I learned years ago, but I don't see it in practice very often. And the saying is that negotiations should be a win-win. I don't see that in practice. It's a good theory, but like I said, I don't really see that in practice. It always seems like there's some people strongly believe in a win-lose, and that includes from the dealership side and from the customer side. Now, whether or not a dealership makes money or doesn't make money is really none of your business, right? You don't care, and as you should, right? But it's the dealership's responsibility to ensure that they stay in business. So every business functions off a profit, right? So the profits that they make is what pays their employees, pays for the facilities they use, pays interest on loans, for the financing of inventory, so on and so on and so on. And we all know this. We all work for businesses or with the government, right? Businesses all have to generate profitable revenue to pay their expenses, pay your salaries, pay bonuses, maintain overhead. And of course, the owners of the business expect to make a profit at the end of paying out all their expenses. So to me, that's just a reasonable expectation, right? But again, it's really none of your business in terms of you're not to worry about that side of it. It's us on the dealership side that you need to be concerned about that. So bottom line is this: you want to make a deal that you feel comfortable with, right? And the dealership is willing to accept. I'll say it that way. Now, I get customers all the time, and it's just kind of ridiculous, the kind of offers they put out there. And it's honestly, in my opinion, it's people unprepared that they're just fishing, right? They just throw out a crazy number and see where it lands, right? And I guess that works to some degree, but doesn't make anybody feel good walking out of it. Because I'm telling you this: the customers who have these super high expectation in terms of the thousands of dollars they think they should get in discounted on a car, in my experience, those types of customers are never satisfied. They always feel like there is something more. Nine times out of 10 in a dealership experience, we end up losing money on on deals like that. And yes, we do deals that we lose money. That's a reality. Whether you believe it or not, it's fine. And I've explained in a previous video some of the reasons. One of the simple reasons is that closing out inventory. We have a few of these things left. We really don't want to mess with it anymore. It's time to go. The new models are out. So that's one. Another thing that happens is, we had the pink with green interior, car that nobody wants. And so, rather than being stuck with it, we take a hit, excuse me, on the car to let it go. But for the most part, that's not the case. if you go into, if you look in dealerships, you're going to see, for example, a lot of silvers, a lot of whites, a lot of blacks, a lot of grays, just typical colors that sell pretty consistently, pretty regularly. They're not super sexy. They're not going to, get anybody all excited in general, but it's a steady business, steady flow. You expect those things to sell. So when you're deciding, once you've decided on the car you want to go, understand the car that you're looking at. Is it something that sells very well, right? So in the market in general, mid-size sedans are sell very, very well. So they are a lot of them though out there. So it's not something that's going to hold, sticker price, MSRP, or whatever the case would be. There's going to be discounts available on stuff like that. Same thing with SUVs, family SUVs. Typically, if that's what the majority of people want, and so dealers will work with you on prices. They're not going to take huge losses on cars like that, because if you decide, oh, this is not what you want, that's fine. Somebody else will come along and get it. Now, if you have things like colors that are super popular, super desirable, you're going to find them less willing to drop prices way down. And again, I've experienced that year over year in different vehicles. I mean, sometimes there is just a color that is just knocking the socks off of people, and I've to this day I'm experiencing cars literally sold prior to even getting to the dealership because it's a particular desirable color that everybody wants. So don't expect huge discounts, if any, on vehicles like that. So if you're going to be moving through the whites and the silvers and the blacks and the grays, the blue, regular blues, whatever, the typical colors that are going to be out there, then you stand a better chance of getting, decent discount on the car. So if you had done the homework that I suggested in previous videos, where you've done some research in terms of what is price, what is cost, you can get all that stuff on Edmunds, right? So you know what invoice is on a particular vehicle. In my opinion, if you offered a few $100s over invoice, let's say $500 over invoice, I mean, it's a pretty simple, straightforward deal. It's not the lowest possible deal that exists, but it's going to be a very good discount on the car. The dealership, in this case, will not be losing any money, and in 9 times out of 10, they'll do the deal. So the bottom line is, make sure from your part that you're looking at a car that is going to fit within your budget that you've already structured. Don't say you have a $40,000 budget, which is about average price of a car in today's world. Let's just say you have a $40K budget. Don't go in there on a $60,000 car expecting to get the car at 40. It's not going to happen. All right. So start with a place that is reasonable, right? So if you have a $40,000 budget, for example, you may look at a car that's $42,000, $43,000, or even if you want to look at something that's $38,000, $39,000, that's already kind of fitting your budget. Maybe the lower price point has what you want as far as features and so forth. So your flexibility plays a role in the process, but the bottom line is this: stay within the range that you have decided where you want to be. Don't try to reach too far out of that range expecting to be discounted down to the price, because again, if it's too far away, it's just not going to work. In my experience, just off of MSRP, I'm trying to think right now, typically it's less than 10% margins from invoice to MSRP. So, when you're asking for 15 and 20 and 25% off of the price of the car, I mean, it's just very difficult. And so you're fighting an uphill battle. The purpose of these videos that I'm putting together is try to make the experience as easy and as painless as possible for you, from your perspective, right? Because you don't control the dealership side. You don't control who it is that you may end up talking to, unless you have been able to establish a relationship with a stable salesperson that's been with their company for a long time. That's a whole different experience. It really makes it a lot easier for you as a client, and of course for the salesperson. But that's not the key here. The key is I'm talking to you as a customer going in to buy the vehicle, right? So yeah, if you can, you want to try to set yourself up to make the process as, I'm going to say, as painless as possible. You're spending a lot of money, so I know that in itself inflicts pain, so I get it. You know, especially, you know, yeah, I have clients who, man, they've paid off their car, they were planning to do something, and, you know, unfortunately, accident, serious mechanical issues, you know, something came up that caused them to have to move into buying a car. So there is some pain there, and I get it. But you want to make the process of getting the car for yourself as easy as possible. And that's the idea of all these videos, is to lay the foundation that you can do your research, get yourself prepared, walk into a dealership and not feel like you're getting done over. And I'm telling you, it happens. People do get, you know, taken advantage of, and that's unfortunate. I am personally fortunate in a dealership that doesn't practice that. And I'm going to tell you my opinion, and it may not be popular, may not be reasonable. If you are happy with a price and you're comfortable with the thing, I don't care if you paid sticker. If you're comfortable with the thing because it fits your budget, it fits what you want, the kind of car, then in my opinion, you've made a good deal, because you've bought what you want, you've bought it at a price that you can afford, and it fits the things that you want it to do, right? So that's my opinion. So in my mind, I don't see that as taking advantage. Where I see taking advantage is when dealerships are adding unnecessary stuff, all kinds of fake security devices. I don't know what it is. Security devices, you know, coatings of all kind. What is it? Nitro in the tires and all this kind of. Adds no real value. Adds almost zero value to the vehicle purchase. So why do it? Why do it? Right? And I'm talking to the dealership side. Why would you do that kind of stuff? Nothing more than to generate more margins, more profit. But this is my belief. If you give people a good experience, fair pricing, and good service, right, you should not have an issue having business coming through the door. And I should not be talking, because I'm addressing a dealership, but that's not the place of this, because we're talking to the consumer, to you as a customer at this point in time. So again, the idea is get yourself prepared, go in there prepared, so you have less of an issue being taken advantage of. And another part of it, don't buy crap. Okay, just don't buy that stuff. Don't buy the paint protections and the nitrous in the tires. And another huge thing, I'm making this in a state where dealer fees are capped. So right now in California, a dealer can only charge a maximum of $85 as a dealer fee. And it's not really, I mean, most of that money is chewed up by like a middleman contractor that we use for DMV purposes. And this is everybody uses some sort of company to interact with the DMV. There's some states where, I mean, down in Florida, yeah, people charging $1,000, $1,500 dealer fees. I worked in When I first started in the business, the company I worked for had a $2.99 deal fee back in the 80s. So that's another thing to look out for, as there are states that basically it's not regulated, that stuff, and so dealers are going to charge whatever they can get away with. In my opinion, it is no need to pay these excessive fees. You can have them take the price off of the car to cover the fee. That's my opinion. So dealers are probably hear this, sure be pissed that I made that kind of thing, but to me it's unnecessary. Treat people fairly, and you won't have this issue. You won't have an issue with customers. I want to make one last comment. Dealers frustrate me sometimes from the inside, where they're begging you to bring customers in, and then when you get customers in, they turn around and abuse them. It's like, I don't understand what are we doing? Do we want to have the relationship? Do we want to keep selling these people cars? Do we want to be available to help and serve them? It just makes no sense. So, I'm rambling right now, so I'm going to cut, because I can go off on a tangent, and I think I want to make this a subject matter about dealer pricing, and things they do to take abuse to people, abuse customers that should not be. And hopefully all that information can help you. So anyway, I've gone way beyond the time that I wanted to go. Hopefully you got good information out of here that you can apply when the time comes for you to go get yourself your new car. So that's it, my friend. I'll see you later. Peace.